Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalam ala Rasulil Kareem. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Highly respected chairman of the session, revered delegates, scholars, dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The title of my paper is Knowledge Toward Bridging Religious and Modern Sciences, Bediuzzaman Sayyid Nursi's Approach. Here I would like to mention that the aim and objective of this paper is twofold. Number first is to understand and comprehend the concept of knowledge. In this section and heading, I have tried and endeavored to present the opinions and explanations of various scholars. For example, Imam Ghazali, Sayyid Yunus Gilani, Ibn Khaldun, etc., and Sayyid Nursi as well. In the second heading, that's about integration of religious and modern sciences and overview of the approach of Sayyid Nursi. That's the main portion and main part of my paper. First, I would like to introduce knowledge, understanding the concept. As we know that in Islam, the scholars who are dedicated and pious, they come under the category whom we call those who know, and they are assigned the title of ulama. You know, there is a professor in International Islamic University, Malaysia. He too had to present a paper here in this very session. He has written a book on knowledge. It is titled Knowledge and Islamic Weapon. In this book he writes, and I quote, "Ulama are the possessors of ilm of whatever kind and from whichever source, provided they work under the hidayah, revealed guidance, communicated through the Rasul, final in the lying being Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and now finally contained in the Quran and Sunnah," unquote. Sayyid Nursi, he says about ulama that ulama are those whose actions are in complete harmony with what they propound and also adorned with the pearls of sincerity. He also says that the term Ilim is not merely concerned with the religious knowledge, but represents knowledge in the broadest sense. However, Sayyid Nursi has divided this knowledge into two main categories. When we read Risale-i-Nur, you can find that there is description about Aqli and Naqli. Here Aqli is connected with the religious sciences and Naqli with the physical sciences. So apparently we can see that there is dichotomy. But there is no such differentiation or such dichotomous nature, because he says that in fact all the knowledge is religious irrespective of its source and nature. There is one more scholar, his name is Sayyid Qutb. He defines, when we study his explanations and descriptions about knowledge, we can conclude that he says that the knowledge means a total harmony between mind, soul and the body. One more scholar, very famous scholar, he is Imam Ghazali. According to him, knowledge is like the fruit of a tree and it flows from intellect. Why should it not be honored when it is the cause of the fortune in this world and the next? In this section I have also tried to explain that the main source of knowledge is Allah, and the reason by using intellect and by using our reasoning faculty we can also generate knowledge, but that knowledge will be beneficial and useful if we combine this knowledge with the revealed knowledge. Now the main heading of my paper is Integration of Religious and Modern Sciences, the approach of Sayyid Nursi. As we see that when colonial period started, the Western powers, they established their rule in the Muslim world. We see that the education system, social system, or the political system of the Muslims, that was replaced by the Western one. So this situation was obviously a critical situation in the Muslim world. There were people who responded to these challenges, and three main methodologies or approaches were presented by the Muslims. There is a scholar, his name is Sayyid Abul Hasan Ali Nadwi. He has written a book, Western Civilization, Islam and the Muslims. In this book he mentions that there were three main approaches adopted by the Muslims when they responded to the challenge that was posed by the West. And the responses were, number first was the methodology of total rejection and opposition to the Western civilization. This group totally opposed Western civilization, that we will not take any ingredient of the West, whether it is fruitful or whether it is detrimental. The second method and second approach was that we can call that approach as approach of indifference. This approach is actually a neutral one, where people neither supported nor opposed the Western civilization. Now the main and final approach and methodology that was adopted by Muslims and propagated as well, that was the moderate approach. They used to say that take that ingredient from the West which is fruitful, which is beneficial, and remain away from that ingredient or oppose that ingredient which is detrimental and fruitless. So if we study and comprehend Risale-i-Nur, we can find that Sayyid Nursi adopted this third approach, that is the moderate approach, where we can take positives from the West, from the Western civilization. He was greatly interested in reconciling faith and reason and Islam and science. His early life, it represents a figure who is excited more about scientific progress and technological advancement. Nursi also highlighted the significance of reason and also invited the Muslims to study meticulously modern science and its underpinning values. I lay emphasis here so as to appreciate Creator better. Also we know that in Turkey during that period when Nursi lived, there were two types of education system. Number first is Maktab and number second is Madrasa. He showed and displayed discontent and dissatisfaction with that type of education. We see that this Maktab system, it dealt with modern sciences, and the Madrasa system with the religious sciences. So when he displayed this disinterest and dissatisfaction, we can conclude from that he was of the opinion that combination and union of these two systems is a must act, an obligatory act. Further, he also considers science as something that is beyond the realm of religion. According to him, man has been awakened and aroused by the modern sciences. In particular, he has understood the true nature of humanity. It means that Sayyid Nursi tried to manifest that all the knowledge is religious, irrespective of the source. If we go through his Risale-i-Nur, we find that there is no opposition or dichotomy between science and religion. This is further explained if we see his Damascus sermon. I here quote some part of it. I quote, "Indeed, Bediuzzaman proved in the Risale-i-Nur that science's breathtaking discoveries of the universe's functioning corroborate and reinforce the truths of religion." Unquote. At one more place, Sayyid Nursi says, "All science and human progress outside religion and belief is worth nothing." He further holds that the conscience is illuminated by the religious sciences. This was also explained by Brother Mudassir as well. I again explain. The conscience is illuminated by the religious sciences, and the mind is illuminated by the physical sciences, and wisdom occurs through the combination of these two. Before him, religious education is the light of conscience, and modern education the light of mind. and when the both are combined together, the truth is revealed. And if these two are alienated, then the former gives rise to skepticism and the later to fanaticism. This whole discussion, it makes us clear that Sayyid Nursi was of the opinion that there is no valid contradiction between the two sciences, that is religious science and modern science. And if there is certain disagreement, that disagreement between them is only due to the misunderstanding of either one. In this case, it is very much fitting if I will quote again from his Risale-i-Nur. I quote, "In the Risale-i-Nur, many descriptions of the divine activity in the universe are looked at through the eyes of science and reflect Bediuzzaman's knowledge of it. The Risale-i-Nur shows that there is no contradiction or conflict between religion and science." Unquote. Now I will conclude my paper. Nursi's philosophy or Weltanschauung, it displays that he was very much keen and interested in combining the two streams, that is religious science and the modern science. In the later part of his life, we also find that he never supported modern science unconditionally. Rather, he necessitated that for the sprouting of a real spiritual development, in addition to embrace the modern science, sticking to the religious principles is also inevitable. The main objective of his approach, what we can call as inventiveness, was to produce such a generation of the Muslims who would be totally sincere, devoted and committed to the advancement of Islam and the Muslims. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.